Hi guys, this is Melissa Zad for Into Boxing, and I am delighted to be joined by, as I always say it, my favourite person in the industry, Mr. Spencer Oliver. How are you doing?
Well, yeah, really good. How are you doing? More importantly, like this is different circumstances to what we normally meet up. This is it's boxing, but something slightly different. YouTube boxing. By the way, did you know that I started YouTube boxing? You didn't know that, did you?
I do, but I can tell when I look at your face.
Did you really?
I helped promote the first fight with KSI versus Joe Weller, and I've done the first fight with KSI versus Logan Paul and Deji versus Jake Paul up in Manchester. I put that show together.
Wow. Do you know what? The boxing purists would say, aha, you're the one to blame. And the fans that like the fact that there are new eyes on the boxing industry would say, wow, Spencer, that's amazing.
Yeah, I know. There's a little exclusive for you there. It's not many people will remember or know that. So, yeah, back in 2018, 2019. So, I built up a good relationship with JJ, KSI, and Jake Paul, etc., etc. And then they've taken it to this level. So, look, there's a lot of critiques out there that don't like the fact that these guys are dipping their toe in the water and getting boxing. But look, the fact is, it's bringing new eyeballs to the sport. Look at the interest that you've got here, even, you know, over this. And KSI decides to come back after 3 years and not fight one person, but he wants to fight two people. He wants to do things different. He's always striving to achieve that little bit more. And it's going to be interesting on Saturday night. Full house at the O2 Arena. Shows the interest that they've got there. Live and exclusive on TalkSport. We go live from 7 p.m. Then we cross over, live from 7 p.m. TalkSport 2. Then we cross over to TalkSport at 9 p.m. I'll be doing this with Adam Cattrall, Gareth A. Davis and Andy Clark. So, yeah, tune into TalkSport. Little plug there as well.
Plugging away, using my platform to plug away. I love it.
Absolutely. Do you know what? That gives me brownie points as well, trust me. Every time I'm in there, the bosses go, make sure you plug TalkSport. So, yeah, but I'm looking forward to it. It'll be something slightly different, but these guys, they take it seriously. Like, they train hard. I think Jake Paul's starting to get that recognition now, you know, that he's done that crossover really from YouTube boxing, and he's respected more as a professional boxer now. But KSI fighting Schwerms in his first fight, yeah, okay, this guy's a rapper that hasn't been boxing too long, but Pineda is a professional boxer. He's from Mexico. He'll come tough. So it's going to be an interesting fight, and it's his second fight as well. So let's hope KSI's not bitten off more than he can chew, but it'll be an interesting one. I like the guy. I like him. You know, I like what he does, and I know that he's worked extremely hard for this. So hopefully, you know, he gains some respect for going into this on Saturday night.
Before we kind of go into the intricacies of the fight night itself, I want to ask, you know, as someone who was involved in the creation of YouTube boxing, what were the seeds that were planted? What was the first thoughts around that?
They approached me actually, so I think that YouTube boxers, a guy called Stuart Jones, who's the agent of all the sidemen, and he approached me and said, look, Spencer, we like what you do with this Boxing with the Stars thing that I was doing with Jake Wood. They approached me and Jake Wood, and he come down to the East End of Studios where we had the first meeting. We was on set, we was in the Queen Vic, and the fight was made. Like, so they said, yeah, look, we've got this show that we want to do. We want to put the fights on, but we haven't got a clue how to do it. And that was how my involvement started, because they knew that I had that involvement, and yeah, that's how it all started, really. And then the second one for Logan Paul.
Sorry, I just want to stop you. The fact that it was created in the Queen Vic is just beautiful.
It's a great scene to set, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, what? YouTube boxing that's where it all started. You, Jake Wood, aka Max Branning, in the Queen Vic, doing a deal with Stuart Jones. Yeah, it was pretty much like that.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was crazy. So that's how it all happened, and we done that at the Copper Box, and yeah, it was all good.
So, in terms of, obviously, you know, the fight itself on Saturday night, KSI fighting two opponents is something that we've not seen in the professional ranks for years and years and years. As you say, you hope he's not bitten off more than he can chew. But what do you think that says about his character?
Well, it says a lot about his character. You know, like I said, he's always striving to achieve, and I like that about him. You know, he's a winner. The kid, whatever he does, you know, whatever he touches seems to turn to gold. He's like, that's what he does. And so he thinks, you know what, let me do something slightly different. The YouTuber boxers, even Jake Paul, they've never really boxed a conventional boxer, a real boxer. So he's doing that in his second fight, not his first fight. So it's going to be interesting. Schwarms is up for it. He's a guy with no boxing experience at all, and they can be dangerous to box. They come in wailing everywhere, and it can be awkward, and that might be tough for him, and that might take something out of him for his second fight against a Mexican who's had, you know, a few professional fights. He's also had an extensive amateur career as well. So it's an interesting one. Let's see how it goes.
Obviously, you know, sold out O2 Arena. Even the press conference today was absolutely buzzing. It's a really different crowd to our usual British boxing fans, you know. People are very vocal. They're very new age, I would like to call them. What do you think it's going to be like in the arena on Saturday night?
I know what it's going to be like, because I sold out the Manchester Arena, the MEN Arena. Like, it was insane. It was like, if you can imagine, this is probably the best way to describe it. If you can imagine that you had been in a coma for like 30, 40 years, and you come out of that coma and you've gone into somewhere and there's these superstars everywhere, but you haven't got a clue who they are, and there's kids screaming, running around like Elvis has just entered the building. It was like that, and it was like, what is going on? I mean, these kids were losing their shit. Like, and they're running past boxers like Anthony Yard and all that, running up to this little YouTube guy, and I go, who's he? And they're all like, they're going absolutely mad, and that was basically what it's like. It's like, it is insane. And when you're talking about being vocal, you think that when you go to like Anthony Joshua fights and you know all the big name fighters of today, you go to those sort of fights and you imagine the noise that we get. This is another level. Like, take your earplugs. These kids are losing their shit. It's mad.
I am really excited just listening to you. I'm starting to get a little sweat on, actually.
Absolutely.
So, last question for you. Obviously, the dust has now settled on the Usyk-Joshua rematch. You know, we saw Usyk win via points decision. It was a really wonderful fight to watch as a spectator, as a fan of the sport. You know, Joshua had quite a strong reaction after the fight itself. There was a lot of critique of him. There was a lot of support of him. I would love to know where on the fence do you sit?
Well, listen, I think it was quite well documented where I was with it all. Like, Anthony Joshua done what he'd done in the ring. Emotions were flying high. His head was not quite there. He regretted what he'd done. That's why he broke down in the press conference. I was there, really. He was looking around the press conference. He's looking directly at me, and I thought, I need to give this geezer some support. I don't want to ask him a question now. I want to give him some support. So I got up, told him that he showed the heart of a lion. He done a lot better than the last time that he fought there. And what people don't know about Anthony Joshua is, everyone in this room, I said, this kid goes through so much and he gives it so much. I said, he doesn't get the respect he deserves. You see what he does for local communities, local boxing clubs, the money he donates to these kids. You know, you've got to respect him. He's a two-time world champion, Olympic gold medalist, a world silver medalist. Give the geezer some respect.
Spence, can I ask you one thing, though?
Yeah.
You said when you spoke to him that you were winning the rounds, you were going toe-to-toe, and is that your belief?
Absolutely. After 9 rounds, the fight was all level. Going into the 10th round, the fight was all level. The fight was there to be won and lost in the 10th round, but Anthony Joshua actually blew a gasket in the 9th round because he went for it there. And in the early rounds, he was outboxing the best boxer in the world. He was holding his own. He had a game plan. He changed it up. Problem is, you get a lot of people that are sitting there with a can of beer, smoking a fag, going, what's it he know about boxing? Well, actually, a little bit more than a lot of people, and that's why they're there and I'm doing what I'm doing. So, in this occasion,
and that's why we love you.
Absolutely. In this occasion, I'm standing by my words. Like, you know, like Anthony Joshua, after 9 rounds, the fight was level. Usyk won it in the last 3 and showed his class.
Spencer Oliver, pleasure as always. Lovely to see you. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you.